when I heard I got the TED Prize, first I'd never heard of TED, and so that was an extraordinary introduction. But I heard about this wish, and I knew at once, in embryo, what I wanted to wish for. Because in my work, I've constantly been frustrated. I've found that in every single tradition that I've studied, I'm pushed back to the notion of compassion, which is seen as the litmus test of spirituality, as the test by which we measure our commitment. And it is what brings us into relation with what we call God, Nirvana, Brahman, Tao. Each of these traditions has developed its own version of the golden rule. Don't do to others what you would not like them to do to you. And said that that is the core of faith, not doctrinal belief or accepting a certain sexual ethic or ritual practice. This is the core of faith. And they've done it because this is the way humanity works. The golden rule requires you, in a disciplined way, all day and every day, to quote Confucius, to look into your own heart, discover what it is that gives you pain, and then refuse, under any circumstance whatsoever, to inflict that pain on anybody else. And it's increasingly seemed to me, as I look at our troubled world, that one of the main tasks of our generation is to build a global society where people of all persuasions can live together in peace and harmony. And yet, the religions that should be making such a major contribution to this endeavor are often seen as part of the problem, because all too often the voices of strident extremism or dogmatism or simply judgmental remarks, unkind remarks, are made. And we're not hearing that compassionate voice. I wanted the Charter to empower people when they hear uncompassionate speech from their religious or secular or business leaders, to have this Charter and to say, this is not compassionate, this is not living up to our high ideals. I wanted also to bring together people who I knew were working in this field, to be organized, just as we often see the extremists organized so marvelously. So, I mean, here present today we've got my friend Imam Faisal and Daisy Khan, both of whom are doing such wonderful work in spreading the compassionate ideals of religion. And now we have a network in which we can work together. So my original idea was to get together a team of thinkers who would come together and from all over the religious spectrum and write the Charter together. So at a time when the religions are seen at loggerheads, this would be a cooperative exercise. We don't have to all say we believe the same things. I don't think belief is very important. Nobody has the last word on what we call God. But we can work together to heal our broken world. Now, TED were very kind to me, and they said, yeah, Karen, but that's a little bit yesterday. You know, yet another sort of a group of boffins meeting in a room and issuing some arcane statement. And came up with an idea that would never have occurred to me, which is to put the Charter online and to encourage people, hundreds of thousands of people from all over the world on a multilingual website to contribute their ideas to the Charter. And three of them who gave the best answers we felt over time, the most thoughtful, provocative, are with us today, as well as my neighbour James Beryl, who collated all these massive findings. Then we did have a meeting. We had a meeting in Vevey in Switzerland, and you've seen some extracts from it while you've been waiting. And I was a bit nervous the night before. I didn't sleep much. My experience of committees has often been a bit dismal. You know, people are defending their own corners and, you know, they've got their own agendas and go into huddles here. But this just didn't happen. Everybody just flung themselves into this. And I think the first person to speak was Peter, who said, what we must say is that the religions have failed to live up to this ideal. And as soon as I heard that, I felt we're all right, we're on the right track. There wasn't going to be this kind of defensiveness anymore. People weren't going to say, as they so often do, try to mask the less than flattering realities of religion. This is the Charter. Shortly you're all going to see it. And it's only the beginning. It's a call to action, and we've got to work. This is the launch, but the launch is the beginning of a voyage. We have a choice, it seems to me. We're standing at a crossroads in history. So many of our things that we took for granted have suddenly come to grief. Our financial institutions, our politics. I mean, look at our world. Politics are supposed to work on the ground. And if they're not working, and we've got this, we're in this really perilous mess. And we're facing imminent environmental catastrophe. We are at a crossroads. Our generation has to take itself in hand. So we have a choice. We can either emphasize those aspects of our traditions, whether they are religious or secular, that speak of exclusion or disdain or hatred or chauvinism. Or we can emphasize those that speak of mutual respect, compassion, respect for the other, putting yourself in the other's shoes. We now need to implement the Golden Rule globally so that we treat all peoples as we would wish to be treated ourselves. And now here's the moment. My dear friend Joan and I are hoping that we are going to unveil the Charter without